course, I want to welcome you back to Hitz 92.1, 91.1, the Maximum Music Authority. Just about 11 o'clock in St. Lucia and the rest of the Eastern Caribbean. Of course, you know that time it is. Also want to welcome our brand new co-host. Should I say Suzette or should I say Miss Thompson? What do you want? Keep it mysterious, Miss Thompson? Or should I say Suzette?
Whichever one you like, whichever one you choose. I'm quite fine.
Let me see how it
They're
sounds.
both my names.
Let me see how it sounds, Miss Thompson. Suzette. Yeah, I like Suzette. It's more provocative.
I like it.
And that's what Man vs. Woman is all about. Welcome to Man vs. Woman St. Lucia. Of course, it's another edition. It's our Monday edition of Man vs. Woman. And like I said, I have a brand new co-host. Of course, the lovely, always smiling. You got the brightest smile, you know that?
Really?
We need more people like you around, because when people smile, it sort of just changes people's day, set them in the right course, help them through the day. A little smile, you know how it is.
Yeah, that's true.
All right, so Man versus Woman, we're gonna take a little intro. You ready for me there, Mr. Technician? All right. Man versus Woman this morning. We have a situation on our hands. But, first of all, sometimes we do throw questions around, right? And I feel like a question this morning. You have any questions for me?
Well,
what do you want to know about us men? What do you want to know about men?
Okay.
Or maybe just an explanation. Something we do that you want to know. Why do you guys do that?
All right, there's something that came to my mind this morning. I could probably ask you. Why is it that men, whenever it comes on to mourning, they always tend not to mourn?
Not to show emotions. We do, we mourn. We do.
Okay, so can you explain that to me? Because I don't see them mourning. The women always mourn. You can see that they're mourning.
Because we have to show the tough side of us, We have to be the Mr. Macho. We do it. Let me tell you how we do it.
Yeah.
We do it inside.
I wanted to know that. Yes, please explain.
We do it inside, and we use things to mask it. That's why you see them always by the counter drinking. When we go to the reception, we drink the most, and we silently mourn. We don't like to put our emotions out. And it's the same with a lot of other things, Men do not like to show emotions because it's considered weak for a man. Even though women would like to see our emotional side. Women love to see our emotional side. They want to say, "Ah."
Really?
Yeah, they do.
So in a case like that then, since you explained that to me, what if a man is mourning, all right, since they internalize the situation instead of express themselves.
Right.
How can I, as a woman, help? Right?
We don't want help.
You don't want help?
No, we don't want help.
Okay.
We want to just be grumpy. But the thing about it is, again, it goes back to the whole, the way society sees it.
That's right.
Men are supposed to be stronger. You're not supposed to show emotion. We're supposed to be the pillars.
That's where I was heading.
When women break down and cry, men are supposed to be there to hold them, lend them a shoulder to cry on. Right? Now, if both of us are crying, then who's on whose shoulder?
No, but both of you can cry together.
But it's just the way it's seen. It's the way society sees it.
Society.
Boy, I was at the funeral yesterday. If you see how mate cry. Meanwhile, no one would talk about the women that was screaming and bawling and want to throw themselves in the grave.
True. And then his friends would want to.
So we do mourn, we do hurt. Men cry inside. Whenever you find a woman, a man that actually would break down and cry, it's not going to be a bawl. It's going to be a tearing on the eye, and he holds everything inside. That's why the suicide rate between men and women are a lot higher with men. Because we bottle things.
Yes.
And when you bottle it, it will explode eventually.
Right.
So, I hope that answers your question.
Yes, it does.
All right. Question, man versus woman. seeing that we are on the topic of crying and being emotional, why do women, do you feel that some women take it to like an extreme?
Definitely.
You know, where they might use it to get attention.
Definitely. Because, all right, for example, a man may not be paying much attention to his woman, and
Right.
you know, they probably have a little fuss, and she start crying,
Right.
and it becomes this big bawling.
Right.
Hello, come, I need
I
attention. That's saying, come, I need some attention.
I want to hear what the bawling sounds like.
And leave me alone. What kind of bawling?
I want to identify the difference between a cry and a bawl.
Am I going to bawl right now?
No,
Seriously?
I want to hear. I want to hear what the bawl.
No, I don't think so.
I want to know what to look for when you start a bawl.
I don't think so. No. I'm not saying me now, you know.
You're not saying
don't
you.
personalize
So
it.
have you do you think that you're a crier or a baller? Some women cry. And someone, oh Lord, Johnny dead. Oh, Johnny come back. Oh Lord, Father take me instead.
That's true.
Take me instead.
But maybe I can be wrong too, you know, because sometimes that's maybe just how the person expresses themselves.
That's how they express themselves.
Yeah.
Now, I've heard of professional ballers, people you can hire to come to your funeral.
Well, I've heard of that too.
You know, that's a new thing. I must say. I've been hearing about it recently. That
It's not new, you know.
you
It's
can
been
hire
there.
you can hire people to come to your funeral to cry and
But
bawl.
why would people do that though?
It's a business. They see the need. Maybe they're saying that people today are not as emotional as they were. So, I mean, you have to put a couple criers, a couple ballers in between the congregation, you know, and have them.
That's
And
just
all
crazy.
women, I don't know men that do that.
That's just
Yeah. So is it that women can fake these things more than men can?
What you trying to pull out of me this morning?
I'm just trying to find out.
What are you up to?
Man versus woman. I want to know
What you trying to pull out of me this morning?
If women are more, if they're real.
Women are real.
Yeah? When it comes to crying.
Women are real. You just have a few of them who goes overboard
Right.
with it sometimes.
Just a few?
Goes overboard.
Just a few? I would say.
I don't know what you're trying to pull out of me this
I
morning.
would say
but
the
it ain't
large
coming out.
majority.
It ain't coming out.
Oh my goodness! And of course, we have a situation this morning, man versus woman, right?
Yes.
Yes. And this one, I kind of like it. I read it, and you know, it reminds me of me a few years ago.
Wow. This
Are you gonna do the honors and read it for us, or
let me see if I can
pull it
read
up,
without
right?
my glasses. Good morning, guys. I need your help. I have been seeing my boyfriend for 9 months. We are middle-aged and are talking about building a life together. When we met, he told me that he has remained good friends with all his ex-girlfriends.
Sounds like me.
He dated his most recent ex for a year. They broke up a year before we met, but they were close friends for a decade before that. She is probably his closest friend. The problem is that she refuses to meet me or to include me in any social activities they engage in. She has since admitted to my boyfriend that she wants him back. He has made it clear to her that that wouldn't happen, but he doesn't want to lose her friendship. Kind of old is that? He keeps asking me to be patient with the situation and that it will hopefully resolve itself. But from my perspective, the resentment, definitely on my side and probably on hers too, is just growing by the day. He has been open and honest with me about everything regarding her, and I trust him. But the situation feels unbearable to me at this stage. He refuses to let the friendship go. Is it time for me to make an ultimatum, or am I overreacting?
You know, I personally have, and I'm gonna put some of my business out today, boy. This situation really lends
Talk to me. I'm
lends to
listening,
me, lends
and
to
I'm
me. I mean,
sure others are too.
I have a very I would actually go out on a limb and say my best friend, one of my very, very best friends in the top top three, top two. And she's actually an ex.
Okay.
But there's a difference though. There's a difference to this story where we remained very good friends or best friends because we are very much alike. We understand each other's thinking very, very, very well. To the point where if you were to ask her, and I think she's probably listening, Bans, good morning. If you were to ask Bans, look.
Like seriously?
Yeah, she's listening. She's always listening. Listens very quietly.
What's her name?
Her name is Kirsten. Call her Bans for Bandit. It was Asylum on Bandit.
Oh.
That was our handle.
Good morning, bandits. I hope you're
It
listening.
was Asylum on Bandit, so I call it Bans for short.
Okay.
Her real name is Kirsten.
Okay.
And Kirsten and I, we to the point where if you were to say, okay, you know what, I want to ask Asylum this question, but I don't know how he would react to it, you could actually go to her and say, look, if I ask Asylum this, how do you think he would respond, or what do you think his answer would be? And you would probably get a dead-on answer. That's how well we know each other, right? Now, the difference is that compared to this situation that we have at hand, I think respect is what is really missing in that situation. Bandit now has gotten to the point where she respects my decision. If I say, okay, this is who I'm dating or who I'm with, she'll say, well, what does she like? Want to know, and she'll give advice. If I have a situation that comes up in the relationship, I would actually go to her and say, hey, what do you think of this? And she would actually give me her honest opinion. Likewise, if it's been about 6-7 years since we were last together, and there's not a day that we don't say hi to each other, or not a day that she doesn't come to me, or I would go to her and say, well, what do you think about the situation, and actually get an honest opinion. So I believe that there's room that these things can happen. It can exist. What doesn't happen though, what we don't allow is for us to actually step in front of each other when it comes to our personal, life, our relationship. We get advice from each other if we need it, and the rest of it is well-wishing. We wish you the best. Well, I hope it work out. When I say, okay, well, so-and-so is the case, what do you think of that? I did this and that happened, and da-da-da-da. She'll say, well, so-and-so is what I think, and hope it works out. Respect. Because we've both realized that even though we can remain best friends, we cannot be in a relationship together.
Okay. Well,
so more than one reasons for that.
So let me ask you, what if one day she decided, listen, Asylum, I think that I'm still having feelings for you, and I've hidden that for the past 7 years? For the past 7 years, right? You are involved with somebody. What position would that put you in now as a man?
As a man. Yes. And let me tell you, to be totally honest, we have had that conversation many times at different points in our lives over the last 7 years. Whenever something wasn't working for me, I probably say, Band boy, I feel we should get back together. And she's like, let's do it because my relationship right now is whack and we need to, But we also realize that that happens, or that's said a lot of times when one person was in a different stage or frame of mind than the other. We never really had a collaborated mindset on it, if you understand what I'm trying to say. It's either when something is going wrong in my life and I feel, boy, let me just reach back out to Bands and see if something could happen. But then she's not having that because guess what? Things are going okay on her side. And vice versa when it does happen from her end. So we've never really had that collaborated meeting of the heads.
So it means then that your situation is completely different from what I just read, because as you said before, it's all about respect.
And I think that's the most important part of it.
Because right here and now, the woman he's with is having a problem with the woman, with his ex. Because she now wants him back, and he's still not willing to let her go to be with the woman he's with.
The thing about that is most women on a whole, especially when it comes to dealing with the ex-girlfriend, women, and I'm talking from a man's perspective, what I've seen and what I know of women and the way they are. Whenever an ex, for instance, still has the attention of that man, the woman that he's with always have a problem because it's never done in a genuine. It's always a teasing. Women like to tease each other.
Let me ask you.
My girl, I can get that man anytime I want.
So, what you're trying to tell me now is that if the coin was flipped, the man wouldn't feel the same way?
Men do not get caught in this situation.
Are you serious?
There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a man who's going to no, we don't do that. We don't do that.
Oh, really now?
We don't do that. No, we don't do that.
You need to leave the studio, you know. You seem as if you're in the studio too often.
Men do not do that.
You need to go back into the real world.
I'm not talking about the boys, eh? Boys are crazy. The boys these days,
the men worse.
No.
The older men worse.
When we the thing about men and women.
No.
The difference is, right? Here's the difference. When a man feels that he can go back to an ex anytime he wants, it's more of a because he has established a relationship to the point where the woman feels that, you know, even though I lost him, he's still somebody I want to be with because of the way he, you know, his personality, maybe his generosity, the way he took care of her and all of that, right? When a woman does that, it's always to make another, to prod, to choke her, to push her with another woman. It's never done because she genuinely feels that is the man that she really wants to be with. She does it to tease the other woman.
Who tell you
to
that?
make the other woman feel
Who
inferior. Or to make the other woman feel like, oh, she always has to be on her heels, otherwise she'll lose him.
Who tell you that?
Men do that.
And men don't.
Men don't do that.
Okay.
We do it. We go through certain stages in life.
You need to go back into the real world.
No, but I'm telling you, I'm in the real world and I'm a man. And I know, and that's how we think. Whenever a man has a woman that he feels that he can go to at any time, he does that because he, you know, of being macho and not letting go. We're like have you ever seen a child that's really selfish, especially with his toys? He wants to play with everyone else's toys, but not. Men are like that.
Thanks for the.
We are like yes. So there you go. You know, we are like that. We are like that. We don't. Even if we don't want it, we don't want to get rid of it. That's why you see some men. You know, people have all kinds of names to give these guys because guess what? They seem to have a trail of women behind them.
But you hear what you just said?
But I'm saying.
Hold on. You just said you don't want it, right?
But we're not giving it up.
But you're not giving it up.
Exactly.
So why is...
But that's just what it is.
Then you told me earlier, you know, that women, they're just teasing. They don't really want the man. But so it's the same thing.
It's the same thing. So we never really let go. A lot of people, though, anytime you find... a relationship ends and it ends on a not so sour note. Once it ends, it's going to be sour.
Right.
Some people go through like war,
yeah.
you know, and they don't want to see each other, hear each other again. But once there's a level of communication that is left after the relationship ends, it's always a prod and pull. You know, if you ended a relationship and you could still meet that person somewhere and give her a hug or give him a hug and say, hey, how things going, you'll do it, especially when you know the girlfriend is on the other side of the road watching, not knowing what the conversation is about.
Men do it.
We would never meet you and introduce you to, want to introduce yourself to the new. Oh, this is my wife now. You know, this is my ex-girlfriend. We don't do that, and women don't want that either, because they want to leave that question mark in the other woman's head. Who's that woman?
Please, that's not true.
It is. It is true.
Not true.
It is true. So, that being said, I believe the situation at hand has a few elements to it. One is I guess, communication, right? The boyfriend in the situation clearly wants to have his cake and eat it too.
That's right.
Because he knows that this woman wants him back.
Because when I read that, you know, I was just about to sing a song when I read this.
What was the song you were going to sing?
Oh Lord,
what a mix up. But that's what it is. He doesn't want to let go because he knows that, you know, he can still, if anything goes wrong, or depends on who he is.
Yeah, it's very clear there.
You know, he doesn't want to let go. The ex-girlfriend, on the other hand, knows that he's not letting go of her. She knows it, and that's why she's very clear. She's still insisting on being. Like I said,
girl, give him the ultimatum. Simple.
Give him the ultimatum.
Give him the ultimatum.
What would you say the ultimatum would be?
It's either her or me.
But then it is you. You're the one who's in his house. I mean, let's play devil's advocate, babes. Yeah. But it is you.
Yeah.
You're the one who I drop to work every morning. I pick up from work and bring home. You're the one who I come to my deepest, you know, concerns and question. You're the one who I have in my heart. Yes, she's still my friend. Yes, from time to time, because we had a good relationship, we can talk about almost anything and give each other honest opinions. But I also do know, on the other hand, that she still cares for me. Otherwise, she wouldn't be where she is. She wouldn't be my best. A best friend needs to care for their best friend, no?
Yeah, a best friend needs to care for a best friend, but how much and how far are you willing to go?
That is a question, a matter of...
You could say all you want. Ultimatum.
You're giving an ultimatum?
Either
why would you want to give me an ultimatum?
Go,
No, but no.
or you let me go.
That's my best friend. That is my best friend.
I want to be your best friend now.
Well,
so
you will be with time. You will be with time. You will be with time. I mean, the relationship is young. It's only been 9 months.
Even so.
Right? There's sometimes, it's better to take your time and quit a situation and to cold turkey it.
I ain't playing like that.
You ain't playing like that?
I don't play rough.
That's my best friend.
That's rough.
That's my best friend.
I don't play
rough. That is my best friend. That's my best friend.
I don't play rough.
I mean, you feel like...
Well, so, the ultimate. That's where the ultimatum comes in.
You have your best friends.
It's either her or me. That's where the ultimatum comes in.
You have your best friend, I have mine.
Yeah, but what if my best friend is not a man? It's a female.
That's your choice. You choose to do that.
Okay.
You choose to have a man as your best friend.
The ultimatum.
Then, and again, there's levels to it.
What levels?
There's levels to it. If you want to have a man as your best friend, then respect has to play a very important role. Respect have to play a very important role, and you would agree with me on that, right?
Definitely.
Okay, so and I believe a lot of respect is not being played here. I see a situation where she's talking about certain things and man is just basically ignoring her. Oh, that's my best friend, so don't worry about that. No, I mean,
I'm not letting her go.
At the end of the day, I am going to respect you, right? I am going to make sure that person respects you. Okay, you have to have that level of respect. If in fact I'm serious about the relationship. Now, not every relationship people are serious about,
All right.
It's not people who are living together and they ain't serious about each other,
Exactly, because look at this. He's saying to his girlfriend, right? That the girlfriend is saying she wants to meet the best friend.
What?
The best friend don't want to meet her. You're putting things into the woman's head.
But then that's maybe because she just doesn't. People listen, not because she's with me that my best friend have to like you.
No, I'm not saying, but at least come on, meet the lady.
There's some husbands that don't like. There's some husbands that don't like their wife's best friend. And there's some wives that don't like their husband's best friend. I agree. So let's keep it so.
I agree.
Let's keep it so.
But come on, you don't want to meet the person that's your best friend's
but it's true.
girlfriend.
I mean, on the other side, though, I'm playing devil's advocate here. It sends
a negative message.
It sends a wrong tone, of course. Again, that is where
you're going to put things in the woman's head for her to start
comes
thinking.
In. So he needs to put his foot down. I mean, okay, what's the purpose of meeting her anyways?
That's my best friend, right?
But you probably know her.
You probably what?
You probably know her as in just a general. Oh, that was his ex. You probably know her face, know what she looks like. What do you need to be her friend? Like, you want to be her friend, or you want to be introduced so you can be her friend too?
It's not
my friends aren't your friends.
It's not a matter
because we're in a relationship.
I understand that, and I agree with that totally. Right. But why don't you want to meet the girl?
Maybe she has her reasons.
Whatever reasons.
Maybe she has a reason. Maybe
sounds fishy
maybe she's still.
The reason sounds very fishy to me.
Maybe she's still coming to terms with the fact that you are where you are.
Then again, in the letter, she says that she told told the boyfriend that she's interested in going back together with her. So
so all of that could be too. I mean, she still has feelings for the boyfriend.
All right, and look at it now.
But that's not my fault.
The boyfriend knows. The boyfriend knows that she's interested. The girl give you an ultimatum.
I know for a fact, right? I know for a fact.
Give him the ultimatum, girl.
No, I don't think she needs to give him the ultimatum.
Give him the ultimatum.
I know for a
fact. The
other
girl likes him. Give him the ultimatum.
I know for a fact that there are exes of mine who would love to get the opportunity to be with me again.
All right.
That doesn't simply mean that I'm going to allow it.
Yeah.
They can want that. She can want that. It doesn't mean that I'm going to allow it.
Yeah, but
it doesn't mean I'm going to give her back. But I could still be friends with her, meet her and hug her and then go my way. I don't need to bring her back into my life to validate her.
That's playing with fire right there.
I mean, it is, but at the end of the day,
old fire stick is easy to catch.
That's what some people say.
Yes, that's what some people say,
but it's not so in all cases.
That's playing with fire right there, pushing the wood in the fire right there.
I don't know about that part. But to me, again, we can still be friends and not have a relationship.
Yes, I agree.
And
Don't
that's
get
why- and
me
that's why-
wrong.
and
I
that's why-
agree
that's-
with that part of it. But you're going to tell me that you ain't letting her go. Not the girl likes you.
seem like
No,
no,
the
because-
girl likes you. She don't want to meet me. That sound like him
She
even
probably has
having
her own
that.
personal
That
reasons.
sound like him
Listen,
even having something going on with the girl and afraid to tell his girlfriend.
You seem to be the kind of lady that does not want nobody, not even sisters near your man.
Talk to me.
You see what I'm talking about? You seem very defensive. You seem like you put up a barrier, make this guy walk in a bubble if he can.
They better come good.
Huh? You seem like you're not trusting nobody around.
No, it's not.
him.
No.
That's what it is.
I'm just joking.
I mean,
No.
We still have to have trust.
No.
And
No.
if you're in a relationship and you're telling me, at the end of the day, whether you know your man, let me use some street terms, whether you know your man is a dog or not, right? Trust is very important.
I agree.
Right? Some of us like to preempt. We like to say, oh, if I give you the chance, you're going to do this, you're going to do that. And you know, if he doesn't, you say it, but when he gets a chance, he does the opposite of what you're expecting. What it does, it puts a strain on it.
Yes, it does.
It does put a strain on it because in his mind, he's thinking, boy, you know, every time I leave home, you have to be worried. I don't know what she's thinking now. I don't know what kind of argument, what kind of quarrel I'm going to go back home to. Meanwhile, you're just down the road like...
You're not getting that from me, but I am saying, listen.
We got a call. Let's take this call. Hitz FM, good morning, you're live.
Hey, Gaza, I agree with the woman. Don't let nobody talk to your person.
All right, there you go. I like you already.
Hey, that's especially in St. Lucia.
Right.
Don't let nobody talk to your person.
So you're saying that you're not allowed to have friends?
Yeah, you're allowed to have friends, you know.
He's
but
not
Gaza,
saying that.
The two of us have to sit down and vet the friends.
Vet the friends?
Yeah, man.
All
Let's
right.
see.
You know, there's some people that playing your friend and they're not your friend.
Okay.
Right. And then fellas and there are some people that friend you.
There you go.
Just to put Roro in your business.
There you go.
Yeah.
I don't agree with you.
But you don't have to agree with me, you know. But I am now convinced. Me, this brother here, I am now convinced.
Right.
You see, when it comes to your person, don't have no friends. Don't play friend by your person.
All right, so I like you for that.
Don't play friend by your person. Because
There you go.
there are some of your friends that just avaricious.
Some.
Most, majority,
Some.
I'm telling you.
playing like they're with you and
You
all
tell me
they
stop.
want to do
Stop.
is drink some of your coffee.
So caller, you're telling me that if you can't be friends with an ex and you're currently okay with it?
And my current be okay with it? Well, it depends on the relationship you have with your
Thank you.
current person.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
That's what I'm saying.
But it depends on the relationship. You understand?
Right.
There are some people that currently know you as if that person is saying, me, I want me to talk to that person again, and so on and so on and so on. Rightfully so. Rightfully so, because they know, you know, it just might, it something, like the lady say, that's an old firewood, easy to catch, you know.
When was the last time you catch an old firewood?
Who, me? Boy, don't ask me my business.
So you see, old firewood not as easy for some people.
Well, for some people. But I believe that when you have your relationship,
Right.
especially in this little country you call St. Lucia, I don't care who gets vexed.
Right.
I don't care who gets vexed.
Keep far.
You have your relationship with your person. You understand? Gaza, there have to be a certain amount of distance between your person and your friend.
Why does it have to be distance, or why can't it be respect?
Well, it could be respected, but have the same distance. You could call it what you want.
Okay.
Call it distance, call it wall, call it whatever.
Call it
respect if you
whatever.
want.
As simple as that.
But I telling you, the minute you say I see y'all shwishwing too much, somebody getting cut somewhere.
All right.
You check it, is either I leave you or you stay with the friend or I don't have nothing to do with the two of you.
So the ultimatum.
Head at her. Experience has taught me
Right.
that if you are my friend, you are going to look at my person.
True.
Check it. Now, if I'm your friend, I am looking at your person.
True.
You check it.
Right.
But you see in St. Lucia here, everybody looking at everybody person. You check like
Everybody wants somebody.
Yeah, everybody always wants something.
All right.
Yeah, you gotta be careful with them kind of things.
Now let me ask
everybody,
you, though,
you have to be careful.
Let me ask you, man versus woman, right? Who do you think is more likely to accept the following? You know, your ex staying friends with your current, men or women?
Say that again.
Who do you think is more likely to accept the situation here where you stay friends or close friends with your ex, men or women? would men accept the fact that their girlfriend stays friends with her
I don't
ex-boyfriend?
think a lot of men in St. Lucia can do that.
We can't. I totally honest. We can't. We can't. We won't. We will not allow it.
I don't think that's
Not even the baby father will want to come around.
No.
And we depending on him to help to feed his child. We want him to feed his child, but we don't want him to come around the house.
Now that's why I disagree.
God.
If that is your baby father, that is your child father.
But we do not want that to happen. We do not want you to come around my house. Don't. You can drop the money down the road.
You mean come and sit out my room and then play with the child?
Yeah, no, we're not on that.
Water and eat food, all kind of thing. That's not happening in my house.
No, we're not doing that. No. We're not doing that.
You and the child father have to have a relationship because of the baby.
Yes.
Or the child. You all must have that mother-father relationship.
Right.
Yeah.
But not boyfriend and girlfriend relationship.
Yeah.
And after
No,
fellas, because they feel there is child father, they can go there anytime they want.
Rolling anytime they want.
They
Yes,
can roll
especially
anytime
when
they
they're
want.
giving the money.
Yeah.
Remember,
You know the thing is some women allow that too, because I know of instances where the an ex-friend of ours, well, not an ex, a friend of ours, right, is no longer on island. You would tell the baby mother, I come and check you later to drop a little something for the child, but you're talking about 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock at night.
So why is it 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock?
You know, and this man finished work at 4:30, yeah?
Yeah, but why cannot be 12:30 or 1:30 in the afternoon at lunchtime?
But that's
and
it.
Don't meet by the square.
Yeah.
And it's only by the square you'll stay.
Yeah. But a lot of men don't do that, yeah? We tricky bad, we crafty bad, eh?
Yeah, but
And letting the cat out of the bag because that's how it is. That's what a lot of men will do, man. Yeah, I know I ain't check you since last month around the same time, but I have a little money here for the fella, come and check you later.
If you see him shoes turned outside, it means him not there. If it turned inside, it means him inside there.
And
I personally do not have time for that nonsense.
you don't think
Okay,
so?
I have a child with you. We're not together again. We just not together again. That's it.
That's it.
That's
Question:
right.
True or false? True or false? When a man have an ex, does he lay claim to that ex for the rest of his life?
What?
Most men.
Say that again.
Do we lay claim to our exes for the rest of our life?
No, I ain't laying claim to no ex.
All right.
Now, is that true or false? Most men, though, I said, not you.
Well, in St. Lucia, most men want to play. They're doing that.
Every ex is mine. All of my ex now exing out.
You see men in St. Lucia. I suspect they change roles with the women.
Okay, interesting. Let me hear your explanation for that one.
Let me tell you why.
They change roles. They switch
When you
roles
see
with
the
women.
women decide, you are the ex. That's it, partner. I always say, I'm sorry for the lady who's sitting down there, but I'm going to say something that you might or might not agree with. Fellas, when you have a girlfriend, it's just your turn. That's not yours. You understand what I'm saying?
Hold up.
So when the fellas want to lay claim to the ex, just remember that was your turn.
That was it.
Jeez.
Where you come from, boy? Where you come from?
But it's true. I mean, look at it.
Are you talking from experience, or are you just saying that?
I can speak from experience and I can draw from the
So you had your turn. It's time for somebody else to be in charge.
I can speak from experience and I can draw from the experiences of other men.
All right.
Okay? And the women that listening to me right now, especially this generation today, the generation that are running things today, I'm not talking about anybody born before 1985.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
The generation today is by turns, partner.
By turns.
By turn.
So the generation before was what?
No. Well, the generation before had a little something more. They wanted to. There was
they were more
longevity.
solid.
They had more flavor.
Yeah, there was a little bit more longevity, and
Yeah.
now it's turn.
Because back in the old days, when I check it out, not even some of my father, but my grandfather, these fellas used to have a million women outside, and these women stayed with them for years, for lifetime,
Yeah.
Now it's like a fashion boy, a week. Next boyfriend, next
But I'm
girlfriend.
telling you, when your turn finish, your turn
Your
finish.
turn finish.
Oh, my
Right, so
God.
don't play. You want to hold on to the ex. Your turn finish, partner.
Could it be though that in this situation that mate is trying to hold on to the ex by branding her his best friend,
Boy, I don't
knowing
know.
that she wants him?
So wait a minute, you was with the person and all of a sudden you want to be in the friend zone?
Yeah,
What kind of thing is that?
that's what mate say. Huh?
No, not in that.
So
let me tell you something.
his girlfriend now is busting her head because she wants to know if this is right, if this happens, and if she should give him the ultimatum.
But the lady's smart too, The lady's smart too. How they say it? you know, we cannot be together anymore as boyfriend and girlfriend, but we can still be friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, you all just want the benefits around the place. You know?
Benefits.
Not that kind of benefit, but a benefit of buy me a phone card.
Who do you think is smarter when it comes to these things, men or women?
By the women, you're madman. Men.
What is this? What is this, Sue?
What does he mean by the women?
Of course. Women, when especially if you have been very generous to them, they don't let you go.
No. They always have to find a way to keep you in the loop.
Always, partner.
Hey,
I haven't heard from you all week. You okay there?
What's going on? You haven't taken me out for a drink again?
No. All of a sudden, the conversation.
Listen to both of you.
Hey, that's that. They send you a little message. I haven't heard from you in a little while. You okay there? My mind run on you. You okay there?
Yeah. All of a sudden, the lady in the corner get quiet.
And then they stop. And then you want to know, okay, what's going on? So you say, okay.
So men don't do that?
No, men don't do that.
Okay. Yeah.
We don't do that.
Okay.
Well,
all of our XX out.
Let me tell you
now?
Let me tell you something. Let me tell you something.
I'm going to believe you're playing devil's advocate, right?
But it's true. All of the XX out.
No.
And a lot of women too.
Because right there,
that's
not what is happening.
A lot of exes, they remember what they used to have. They know they messed up, and they see somebody else living good, and they will go all out to mash up the people.
Both men and women.
But no, men.
Both men and
from
women.
From the time you step out of our life, that's it. We just try to just hold our head and bury our shame and move on.
I don't believe you.
Let me tell you something, Asylum.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. I can talk about me. I know about other people, and I'm not ashamed to say it.
All right.
I with you, we checking each other. I will fight hard to hold on.
Right.
Even when you say you're going, I will fight hard to hold on.
Right.
But you see, when you say you're gone, that's not going, sir.
All right.
You're gone. That's it. You're gone. Don't meet me nowhere and tell me nothing, And don't tell me that's not the thing.
You are one of those exes who definitely cannot remain friends with the next.
No, I ain't remaining friend with nobody.
Yeah, well.
You can say what you want. I don't care. People who call me what they want. That's not my business. I don't stay no friend.
You're not staying no friends with no
not getting no kind of benefit on the side. Sorry.
So do you stay friends with your exes?
No.
No?
No.
No, I'm talking to Mr. Suzette here. Yes. Do you stay friends with your exes?
I'll talk to my exes, but I'm not going to be best friend with no ex.
When you say talk, what do you mean?
Hi and hello. Sorry.
Hi and hello. I'm not vexed with the person, and
You're gone. I'm not vexed with you, I just don't want to talk to you.
You just.
No close up nothing. No close up nothing because it's going to bring problem to your present relationship.
That's not true. I don't believe.
Really? You don't believe that?
The way you're saying that, I'm not falling for you.
Okay, well, let me say my last
men nowadays.
What about men nowadays?
Men are very jealous.
We're not jealous.
Men are
we just want you to leave.
Jealous.
We just want to still keep a key to the door.
Asylum, you let the cat out of the bag.
But that's what it is, man versus woman. We tell you like it is. We don't want to give up the keys. We do not want to give up the keys. I'll go back to my little story about little boys. We would, play with your toys, but you're not allowed to play with ours.
Well, hey, that.
Yeah, we're selfish like that.
Hey, that.
Yeah.
Okay, you're gone. You're gone. That's it.
For you.
Yeah, for me, you're gone.
That's dangerous, my brother.
Whatever.
Don't listen to him. Don't listen to him. You're gone. You're gone.
You can say what you want, but
because at the end of the day,
you're gone.
At the end of the day, if we can't make it in a relationship, doesn't mean that we have to be enemies.
Well, fine.
I understand.
I'm not your enemy,
because
I just don't want to have
you're
the
gone.
amount of stress it takes to maintain that is unbelievable. You will die early.
But no, I'm not vexed with you. I just don't want to have anything to do with you.
So why the person can't call you and check you and see how things going? And
no, don't check on no. If you wanted to
you had a chance to check.
Going on with me, you'd have still be there.
You're cool, boy.
You had a chance to check.
It's a good thing I'm not in no relationship with none of you.
Well, good. Anyway, people, I got.
All right, man. Thank you very much for your contribution. All right.
You God.
Mr. I am done. I'm gone. I don't believe in that. I believe that at the end of the day, this is how I feel you grow as an individual. When you're in a relationship and it doesn't work out, you still have to do an assessment of that relationship and see what was done wrong. What are some of the things that led to the breakup or the separation?
But if
right?
it happened,
and
you should know already.
If the person, yeah, but you should, but you still have to examine it, because a lot of times some people are so good they can paint a picture, make you feel it's something, one reason why they left or the relationship, and that's not it. You know what I mean? So you still need to do your own evaluation. I think that.
So let me ask you, so in doing that evaluation, you have to keep in touch with the person? That's what you're saying?
Well, it depends on the individuals, and depends on the relationship. There's some relationship or some people who could actually sit down and discuss it and say, look, you know what, I think it's better that we end this. And do it, in a very calm environment, adult environment. There's other people that will bring out the cutlass and the knife and the fork and everything else and have a war, right? Toxic relationships, I still do believe that we shouldn't really, because there's one point, in that relationship that you guys were lovers. You thought the world of each other and everything was so good.
That is so puzzling, You find two persons together sometimes for a very long time. And they're so loving, and then all of a sudden,
boom,
two people start hating, just hate.
To the point where if I wish that dead. All of these kind of things. We don't need that.
It's very puzzling.
So I believe that even though sometimes we are left hurt, bruised, battered, right? We ought to not focus on the negative sides of the thing, because every relationship, no matter how it ended, has its good sides, has its high points.
I can agree with you on that.
There are times when you thought that, guess what? This person is my life. I can't live without them.
That's true.
So whatever went wrong, to turn the tables and make it sour, make it bitter in your mouth, then you need to examine it, because then ultimately it will help you moving forward. Little things.
Yeah.
Little things. People tend to forget that when you're in a relationship and it doesn't work out, and you decide, okay, well, you're gonna go your separate ways. Going into the next relationship could bring back the same, especially if you haven't examined yourself and see what went wrong and know what to look for, know the signs.
Yes.
You could head right back into the same situation, which a lot of people do. And that's why you see them in revolving doors all the time, because guess what? They haven't really figured out what are the do's and don'ts, or what would work for them personally, because we all have our own personal ideas of what a relationship is to us.
Right.
Two people coming together, the man has his own idea of what he wants, the woman have her own idea of what she wants, and they have to find a way to make them work, which is what a lot of us don't do. What we tend to find is that the man will say, okay, well, I want it this way. The woman will say, no, I want it that way.
And then the tug of war starts.
And the tug of war starts. There you go.
Will work out. That's true.
So, in this case, I do believe that the three parties need to take a step back and look at the whole situation. Now, the person the lady right now, the woman in the man's life, she is ready to make a move. She's ready to say, you know what, this is not working for me, because this tail that he has dragging behind him doesn't seem to want to leave the train.
Exactly.
So if he doesn't cut it, I'm not going to go through this. Maybe it's something that she has dealt with in the past.
It could be.
Maybe she knows all too well what's going to happen because she's lived it already. So he needs to examine that. He needs to find out why she's having such a hard time with him being best friends with his ex. And if she has a valid reason, I think he needs to examine it, and he needs to make changes if he really does care about this woman, and if he really does value the relationship that he has. Right now, if he continues on this path, it shows that he doesn't care about her feelings, her thoughts, and he doesn't have value for their current relationship. That's just my take.
Yeah, I agree with you. But then at the same time, you have somebody in your life, right? And this person is having a problem with another person. I'm looking at it from this perspective. Who is more important?
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
You're going to say you cannot let go of this best friend. What kind of hold does she have on you that you are going to tell the person that you're with that you cannot let go?
It can also be a situation where they have had so much together in the past, and maybe some very meaningful times that will last him.
Go back to her.
Maybe let's just put this scenario. Maybe she helped him through a lot of things in his life that he's forever thankful for. It happens.
It does happen, but okay. I agree with what you're saying. But now you have somebody in your life. Right? The ex is now saying, I don't want to meet that person. And as you said before, she might have her reasons. No, I'm not talking about the ex. I'm talking about the man and the woman now that is in the relationship. How much do you love this person? How far do you intend to take your relationship with this person? If you are not willing to take the relationship further, then you're going to hold on to the things that the person don't like.
Right. And I agree with you there. Definitely agree with you. I think also what really bears a major factor here is the fact that he might not be as serious as she thinks that he is, because obviously he would do what he needs to do. And that's the thing about relationships, a lot of times we have issues and we know what we have to do to solve those issues, but because maybe we're not in it all in, right, we don't care to solve the issues. A lot of times when relationships are going sour, when people are crying out, look, we have an issue here, we need to deal with it, both parties need to say to themselves, okay, what can I do, or what am I doing to contribute towards the relationship going into a bad state of health? And what do I need to do to bring it back to the vibrant relationship that it used to be? Most of us don't want to do that.
That's true.
We dwell on the negatives. We complain about the things that are going wrong.
That's what crushes relationships.
And that is one of the major reasons why relationships lose the key to that lock.
It's very rare now that you find unconditional love. Somebody does you something, and the one thing that person does, you hold on to it for years in the relationship. That will kill love completely. You have to understand that every day is a new day. The person does something, you talk about it, move on. Tomorrow comes with its own troubles. You're going back into the past to dig that up and bring it back to the present. Then nothing is solved. Nothing. The situation remains the same, and the sore you keep pulling the plaster off the sore. That sore will never get better.
And that's so true. We ought to always, when these things happen, and I'm not saying that it's right for someone to endure these kind of things in a relationship where your partner is best friends with his ex. Now, it could happen. First of all, you have to understand the type of relationship that they had. I think that needs to be brought to the table. The mere fact though that he knows that she wants him back,
right,
it will be very unsettling to the person that he's with.
Exactly.
You understand? So he needs to make a decision.
Right. That's where the ultimatum
he
comes
definitely
in,
needs to
and
make a
then
decision.
she can take it from there. You lay down the ultimatum. After you lay down the ultimatum, depending on what he says, then that's where your decision comes
then you
in.
Make a
you
decision
need to know
based on
what
that.
you want after that. Because if he's going to tell you that, okay, he's still not letting go. I'm just wondering though, what kind of hold does she have on
him? Do you think it's a hold though? I mean, like I said,
go as far as to say he's not letting go of her, knowing how the person that he's with feels about it.
Maybe it's a situation where she helped him through a very hard time in his life. People do that. People meet people at some of the worst stages of their lives, and they help to build them back. And then I think one of the biggest things for a lot of people when relationships end is just when you reminisce on how far you've come together. You might have met someone and they didn't really have anything, still living at home, maybe just the clothes that they own that they have, and now you help them through school, or you encourage them to build that career, or when they get a job, you encourage them to take advantage of every step to go up. And you think about all these things. I was there for you. I tried so many different things to help to elevate you, and so also when you're on the receiving end of that, you look back and you say, no, boy, that girl helped me through so much already.
So
she helped me go to school.
Out of gratitude.
Out of gratitude. A lot of it is out of gratitude. She was there for me at a very dark time in my life. I was a bad boy. I was lying on the block with no aim. Now I have a job. I've managed to carve a career out of that because of her encouragement.
Yeah, but don't take it to the point where you're going
it will go to. But that's one of the biggest mistakes that we make. He's going to
destroy every relationship that he comes across because of that.
And the thing is, a lot of people, when it comes to gratitude, they do not know how far to take it. And I think that's the major issue. I mean, if somebody helps me, let's say I go out the road and I slip and fall and I twist my ankle and a couple of guys pass, they help me up and help me walk to the hospital. Yes, I have to show gratitude for that. But not every time I meet them they're going to tell me to give them a Guinness.
Yes.
For the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Not every time I meet these guys for the rest of my life they're going to say, hey, Asylum, give me, it's not right. And that's another major part of showing, and a lot of people do that.
Yes. They do.
A lot of people do that.
If that is the case with them, that's what she's doing right now.
Could be. Yeah. Very much so. I mean, it could be, that could very well be the case where she's always reminding him of what she did for him now that, and if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't see you the way she see you because you wouldn't have had this and you wouldn't have had that. You wouldn't have been here. You wouldn't have been there.
Men were like that for real.
So maybe that's the situation right there.
Yeah.
That's the situation right there. So, again, young lady, thank you for reaching out to us on this one. And I believe that you definitely need to take the bull by the horn.
Give him the ultimatum.
Give him the ultimatum. I think he needs it. I think he needs it. And speaking for man versus woman, speaking for man, I believe that sometimes we do need that. We tend to lax because we figure, hey, she only running her mouth. She ain't going to do nothing about that. It happens. And that's how men think. We are procrastinators.
Yes. That's definitely true.
We are procrastinators by nature. We will sit back and wait until the 9th hour. Yeah. When we see her packing her things in a garbage bag to put them by the road herself, that's where we're gonna run to her and say, babes, no. Let me make some changes. So I hope he's listening because I would like to tell him that, man to man, it's not fair what you're doing, honestly. And I know I'm gonna get a lot of slack for this, but it's not fair. I think you really need to make a decision as to who is more important to you.
That's right.
And then address it. If your ex is that important to you, then you need to tell this young lady, look, you know what? This is the situation. It's not going to change, and let her decide if that's something she wants to be a part of. Because to me, it sounds like a bit of a love triangle. Because you do know that your ex will take you back in a heartbeat. She's indicated that, said it, right? She's indicated that. So, from a woman's perspective, I believe that there's no woman that would want to be in a situation where they know that even if the slightest argument, that you would just walk out of the house and let's say you run into her and she says, okay, let's go somewhere and talk, and before you know, anything can happen from there. Women don't like that kind of insecurities. They don't like to know that there's another woman out there who could be a shoulder for their man to cry on, except his mother or sisters.
That's right. And
some of them even leery of their cousins.
And another thing too that men need to understand about women, you'll walk into a room filled with people. A man and a woman will walk into a room filled with people, and as soon as they enter that room, the woman will be able to tell which woman have eye on her man. I don't know how we're wired that way, but we are wired that way. Right. We can tell, oh, that one like him, I have to keep my eyes on you. Or she'll oh, okay, that one not interested. Yeah, okay. that one watching him. That's how women are by nature. So don't
protective of their property.
Don't come and think that
they're protective.
You can come and tell me, oh, she's my best friend and she's not your best friend. I'll know. That's how we are. I'll know.
But it's not always the case, though.
No, I'm not saying that's always the case, but we are wired that way. We'll know if it is like that, then we'll know. If it's not like that, eventually we'll find out. But we'll know.
I agree with you. I totally agree with you. Y'all wired wrong.
That's not the point I was trying to make. We are not wired wrong.
Wired wrong.
We are wired right.
I mean, look, guys. I think it's a mutual thing, though. I think men can be the same way. Whenever a man goes out with his woman, he watches everybody she talks to.
No, I'm not talking about watching everybody.
When I say watching, we watching everybody. And we would. Some of the guys that we know, boy, I know mate is a player. I know what she doing. How she know mate. I know mate dangerous, and I mate. Yeah, how she know, in her mind we're thinking, okay, well, why she go over there? Yeah. I wonder if they have something in the past, or wonder if he trying to vibe. That's just how we are, and I think both men and women are like that. When it comes to our people, our persons, we don't like to have, the opposite sex too close to them. And now these days you have to be careful too, eh? These days you have to be careful, not just the opposite sex alone.
Jesus.
That being said, but it's true. That being said, we also, whenever a man decides, or whenever a man is in a relationship, he kind of puts that woman on a pedestal. And it's a virtual pedestal.
Yes.
In his mind, he doesn't want a fly to land on her. Far less the village ram. All right? Far less the fella in the village that everybody know has 100 children and 200 girlfriends.
God.
You understand me? We don't want you close to our women at all.
Yeah.
And I think women are the same way. Knowing that though, I think sometimes we have to be a bit more mindful when we go out. I tend to, if I go out with my other half when I have one, I like to stay close to you. We can chill together. We go out together. If we go out as a group, yes, we can relax and everybody enjoy themselves. Yes. But then I would know ahead of time who's in that group. So there's no need for me to, wonder who's that one, right? From time to time, you're gonna find the strangers that are gonna show up, and But I believe it's a nature that both men and women have, and we sort of have to be mindful of it at times, because sometimes we can go overboard.
That's true.
And so much so that they can actually ruin our so-called good time that we go out to have. Because you're so focused on who's mate. Why you hug that man? Why that man have to wind up on you? Or why that man looking at you like that? And we're not enjoying ourselves.
That's so true.
Other times, people can do it for malicious reasons. You show up with your wife and, man, she goes, let me just give that man a little pressure. Fellas do that, eh?
What?
And women do it, they do it just because they want to make the other woman jealous. They'll come over, hey, Asylum, long time I ain't see you, boy. Give me a wine.
That's why women don't want nobody near our men.
And that's the way. Women do it maliciously. They'll maliciously do that just to get under your woman's skin. And I've seen it many times. But
don't try that.
Don't try that. We got about 3 minutes left, and of course, again, I just wanna.
What?
Yeah, time flies, eh?
What? We just got inside here.
Just got in here, eh? What's your advice to Miss Confused there?
But I've been giving her that advice from the beginning. Give him the ultimatum.
Ultimatum.
Yes, and then from you can take it from there, because as you say, it can be genuine. He has his best friend, and there's nothing really going on. He's really innocent, even though she's still interested in him.
Right, and that's the thing.
He might not be interested in her, but at the same time, you have a woman in your life, and if you're in love with her, you're going to want her to feel comfortable, right?
Let me blow my trumpet here for a little bit. I have quite a few people who I've had in my life that if I call right now and say, look, you know what, let's do this all over again. And they will be ready to do it. That doesn't mean, though, that I want to. There's a few people who I know if I snap my finger and say, let's get back together, they will give Asylum the second chance. But doesn't mean that I want to. And that's what we need to establish here. Whether or not he wants to go back into a relationship with that woman.
Right.
Even though, because, like I said, some things that not because a relationship has ended doesn't mean that there wasn't a lot of really good times. Sometimes the good times outweigh the bad times by far. But the one thing happened. The one thing happened that breaks, the camel's back. Doesn't mean that these people have to hate each other. Right. There's a lot of love there for them.
Right.
But what we need to establish is whether or not the man in this situation, if he really has any interest in that woman, that goes beyond being a friend. The best friend part could come because she has been there. She has given him solid advice when they were together, or even after they've broken up. Yeah. They managed to maintain a really good friendship. she was there for him, or she's there for him as a friend whenever he needs her to be. And I'm not talking sexual, right? So that's why he feels the need. You know what? There's nobody else in the world who I can think of that I would rather do anything for first but her, because she has done so much for me. So that needs to be established, though. I think the lady in his life needs to be reassured that, look, you see this friendship that I have with her is nothing but a friendship.
That is the reason why she needs, the ex needs to meet with her. You understand? He should encourage it. You understand me? All right, I'm with my woman, you're my best friend, and my woman is feeling uncomfortable. Why you don't want to meet my woman?
I don't know so much that if the meeting is really important.
Based on the fact that she likes the man, she's not going to want to meet him.
Well, that could be it too, and I don't think it's important. I think that, you know, you just establish the fact that okay, that's his best friend. They have a friendship, and that's it, because he's made that known to me that there's nothing more. He's not interested in that. I can move on and live my life. She should not waste her time worrying about the other girl.
No, but but look at it, Asylum. The woman has now come out in the clear and said, I want you back. I ain't putting up with that.
It's totally up to him.
I ain't putting up with
It's
that.
totally up to him to reassure the woman that even though she says she wants me back, I'm not going back there. Yes, she can be my best friend because we've had a lot.
Fire stick.
You just one of those people who do not want anybody next to their people, and I'm saying it before we leave. Gentlemen, tell the lady, let your girl know what time it is. Come, and you really need to tell your ex to lay off a little bit. I think you need to lay off a little bit. As for your friendship, I think that every one of us have a best friend, and it comes in all different forms and shapes.
Best friends,
right?
Most of my life, my best friends have been male. Yes.
Right. So,
but there's a line that is drawn.
The line has to be drawn. It definitely has to be drawn. The ultimatum has to be given. And that's what I would say. Anyways, we gotta go. We're out of time.
Yeah.
It was nice.
Same here.
Tomorrow morning,
nice.
same place, same time. St. Lucia, have yourselves a wonderful one. You know we love you. And GVD TV. Javed, good morning. You have to sing good morning to Javed.
Javed, good morning. You this morning,
Javed.
Good morning, Javed. And everybody else in the office, good morning.
This is Hitz FM, GVD TV, channel 115. And of course, Man vs. Woman. Catch us tomorrow, same place, same time. We're out.